Hey guys, my name is Coachdag and I like to make videos. I usually make children videos and adventure videos with my daughter Ava Rose. And you can actually check them out on my channel. And please subscribe because I definitely want to get as many subscribers as possible so you guys can be the first ones to see our new videos when they come out. But today, I'm going to make a how-to video. When I'm not going on adventures or making videos, I love sports. And I love to watch it, I love to play it, I love to do fantasy sports. And today we are going to make a video on how to win at fantasy football. Now I've been playing fantasy football for quite a while now, and I usually do well, and I have some secrets that I want to share to you guys, some exclusive secrets that I came up with. I think are pretty good, and not too many people know about it. But since you came to this video and I want to give you guys some advice on how to win, you'll be happy. Now, the first thing obviously is the draft. How to draft. Now, there are a couple different things that you want to do to get ready for the draft. First thing I like to do is go to ESPN or Yahoo and print out the draft kit. They give you a list of the best quarterbacks, the best running backs, the best wide receivers. That's the first thing that you want to do. Now, other people go to magazines. That's kind of that's something similar. But the only problem with magazines is that they're outdated. So when you buy the magazine, it might be published a couple of months ago or maybe last month, and things have changed in a month. When you go to ESPN or Yahoo or CBS Sports, you're going to get the latest information because they update them on a regular basis. So the first thing you want to do is you want to print out the draft kit. Now the draft kit, like I said before, is just simply the best players in each position. And they list them from highest ranking player down to the lowest ranking player. Now you can also get something where it's a draft. It's like a mock draft where you print that out, and it gives you guys from the number 1 draft pick versus the number 2, the 3, and all the way down to the 200 draft pick. That's also something to print out. Now, depending on how many rounds you have and how many teams you have, that's how many guys you're going to draft. Now, most drafts are snake drafts, which means you start with the first pick, and it goes, say there's 12 teams, go to the 12th pick, which is the first round, and all of a sudden the 13th pick is picked by the same guy, and then it goes back, it snakes around back to the first pick, the first guy picking. That's called a snake draft. Now, what you want to do is you want to project where your guy is going to go. Now, what you should do is you should make, depending on where you're picking, you should make a list of guys who you want. Okay, so before you even sit down to the draft, you want to make a list of the guys that you want. Now, obviously, some might be unrealistic because say you want Ray Rice, number 2, but you're picking 5. You want Ray Rice, and you want him to be your first pick, but you're picking 5. That might not be a realistic pick, but you still want to list all of the guys that you want to go. Now, this is helpful for the first couple of rounds because a guy might drop. Say you were picking 6, and the guy that you had second on your list dropped down to the 5th or 6th pick, then you take him. So that's one thing that people don't really do. They don't list all the guys that they want to get picked in order. Now, I've seen in drafts where guys just go in there and just they have nothing. They don't have the draft kit. They don't have anything. They don't have any paper. They don't even write down anything, and they just go off the top of the head. That never works. That's really not going to work. Now, another thing that people want to consider is who are you going to pick? What type of position are you going to pick? Now, usually running backs are important players to pick first because they get the most touches. Okay, they touch the ball a lot. A wide receiver might only touch the ball 2 or 3 times a game, possibly 4, but running back's going to touch the ball a lot, at least 15 times a game. Now, a quarterback is always touching the ball, but the thing is, in order to get points, they have to put up a lot of yards. So quarterbacks, you might think are more important than a running back, but it turns out running backs are probably the most important. So you probably want to go with a running back when you first pick. Now, I usually like to go running back quarterback because I want to get the best quarterback. Now, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, those are the top quarterbacks that you want to try to pick. Now, they might go early. People might just want to jump right on top of them. But say you have a running back, and then next time you pick is a quarterback available, I might want to go quarterback on the second pick. Now, wide receivers there's a lot of wide receivers, and again, like I said before, they don't really touch the ball that much. They're like a Wes Welker, gets a lot of receptions, and like a Greg Jennings and Calvin Johnson. They're gonna get a lot of touches because they're big names, but there's not too many great wide receivers out there. But if those guys are available, then I might want to go with them with the second or third pick. All right, you probably want to stay away from a kicker until the end of the draft, or maybe even when you drop somebody at the end, maybe you pick somebody that it wasn't a good pick, you drop them, and then you get a kicker. You don't really want to draft a kicker to the very end. Tight end, you're gonna get some monster tight ends like Gronkowski. You might want to pick them in the fourth or fifth round. I mean, they might go early because they get a lot of receptions. They're kind of like a wide receiver, like a high-powered wide receiver. Because tight ends, they're actually getting more popular now. So you might want to go with a tight end in the early rounds if it's a monster tight end. All right, but for the most part, you can if those tight ends are picked early, the big tight ends, you might want to stay away from them to the middle rounds. But running back, quarterback would probably be the 1-2. Maybe running back if it was another good running back, maybe running back. But what's going to happen is once somebody picks a quarterback, then all of a sudden a bunch of people are going to pick quarterbacks. That's usually what happens. The running backs are going to go first, and then once that first big wide receiver gets picked, then all of a sudden people are going to start picking wide receivers. So you might have to jump on a wide receiver. So it depends on your draft. Same thing with tight ends. Once those first couple of tight ends get picked, then all of a sudden everybody's going to get a tight end. Now, you might get somebody picking a kicker, like a really good kicker. But don't worry about that. Don't fall into that trap. You don't really have to go with a kicker. Same thing with defenses, like a Steelers defense or a Giants defense or a Jets defense. Once somebody picks a defense, people are going to want to pick defenses. Now, what I've learned over the years is that defenses, you're not going to stick with the same defense every week. That's the thing. That's the problem. So you don't have to really get roped up into picking a defense, because again, like I said, the Steelers might be playing the Giants, and the Giants are going to put up a lot of points. You're not going to put the Steelers in. You're going to have to pick up another defense off the waiver wire. But we're going to get to that later on. All right, so that's basically what you're going to do for the draft. That was my first point. The second point, once the season starts, you're going to try to look for sleepers. All right? Now, sleepers are guys that haven't really done much in the past, and all of a sudden they burst onto the scene. That's what you have to look for the first couple of weeks. Now, you might try to look for that in the draft. You might look for somebody, maybe a rookie or a guy that's just maybe in their second year that might get a shot. That's what you're going to look for. You have to look for a sleeper. So the first couple of weeks, what you want to do is you want to look at the games that's been going on. So you want to look at every box score. So it is, I'm telling you right now, it's time consuming. And if you want to do well, you're going to have to do your homework. So I'm lucky enough I was able to do this at work, during my off time. So, but you're going to have to spend the first couple of weeks looking at try to find sleepers. So you have to go through every box score. So say the first week goes, you have to look at every single box score to see who actually I mean, you're probably going to see it on highlight shows like ESPN highlight shows and stuff like that. But what you want to do is you want to actually look at the box scores to see what's been going on. All right, so that's what you want to do to try to find a sleeper. Now, the waiver wire, the way the waiver wire works is you have 2 days to pick somebody up. Now, the first couple of weeks, everybody pretty much has the same record. Either you're 0-1 or 1-0. The people with the worst record gets to pick first. Now, what you want to do is you want to try to pick a guy that is not hot yet. Because if you try to get a guy and he's really hot, then obviously everybody's going to want him. So what you want to do is you want to try to get somebody or project that this guy's going to get hot. So you pick them before everybody else. Because even if you have like a good record, say it's like the third or fourth week, and you're 3-1 or 4-0, you're going to get the last pick in the waiver wire. So what you want to do is like 2 weeks before the guy gets hot, you want to project. All right, this guy's getting a lot of touches. He's gonna blow up. So you pick him like 2 weeks before he gets hot. That's the secret. All right, you got to be like 2 weeks ahead of everybody else. All right. Now, switching guys in and out of the lineup, that's one thing. You're gonna play the Aaron Rodgers. You're gonna play the Greg Jennings and Calvin Johnson. You're going to play those guys on a regular basis, no matter what the opposition is. But what I said before about this defense, the kicker, you can drop a kicker, pick up a kicker. It's not a big deal. If say you have a kicker that's going to play in cold weather, he's going up to Green Bay and it's outside. You might not want to play that kicker, unless he's a really good kicker. You might want to pick somebody that's playing indoors that week. So you have to look at the weather to see what's going on that week. So switching guys in and out of the lineup, you're gonna have a bench. You're gonna have a bunch of bench guys. You might want to say the Jets. Say your receiver's playing the Jets. Now, your receiver, say Marcus Colston, is playing against Darrelle Revis. You might not want to start Colston because he's playing against Darrelle Revis. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. So what you want to do is maybe you play somebody else. So you want to look at the matchups. You want to see who your receivers are playing against. Now, say the Steelers have a really good run defense, and you have a running back going against the Steelers. You might not want to play that running back against that Steeler defense because he's going to get shut down. So that's another thing. You want to be able to each week pick a guy that's going to benefit from who they're playing. You don't want to put a guy in there that's going against a good defense or a good cornerback. So you have to look at who they're playing. All right. So look at the weather report for each game. Say you have Eli Manning and he's going, in a dome. Obviously he's gonna flourish and he's probably gonna get a lot of points. But if he's going and it's gonna be cold or it's gonna be rainy that day, they might run a lot, so they're not gonna pass a lot. So that's another thing you want to look at. You maybe use your backup quarterback. So you always want to look 2 weeks ahead to see who you're playing and what the weather report's going to be. All right, trades. Another thing with trades. What's going to happen is you're going to get guys want to make trades with you. You might have a couple of good guys on. You might have a lot of wide receivers, and a guy wants a wide receiver. Don't always accept the trade right away. Look at it. See what they have, and always make a counter move. Don't just automatically accept because you want to make a trade. What you want to do is you want to try to benefit your team the best. All right, so you might need that wide receiver. Say you have a wide receiver, like I said before, you're going to use that wide receiver maybe two weeks later when they're playing an easy team. So you don't really want to trade your guys, even though you have a couple of wide receivers on your bench. Now, if it's like a no-brainer deal where the guy's giving you, or you propose a good deal where you're getting a lot better guy back, then you might want to do the trade. But don't always just jump at the trades because you want to make a trade. Always make a counter move to benefit your team. Now he might come back and say that's a bogus deal because you're going to benefit. You're the one that made the trade. You're the one that wants to make a trade with me, so I want a guy that's going to benefit my team. All right. So again, don't just make a trade because you want to make a trade. Another thing, what I like to do is I like to look at the depth chart of each team. And this is also good going into the draft as well. I like to look at and print out all of the team's depth chart. So you can actually go to Yahoo or ESPN, go to each team, and look at their depth chart and see who their starting wide receiver. There might be a starting wide receiver that nobody even knows about, and he's getting a chance to start. That guy might be a sleeper where you pick him up because he might get a lot of the touches as a wide receiver. So you want to look at everybody's depth chart and see who their wide receiver is, their tight end. There might be a situation where you don't really have a good tight end, but you look at the depth chart and you see some guy gets a chance to be their starting tight end because that's what the depth chart does. It tells you who the starters are and who the backups are. And you might pick that tight end. And then he might all of a sudden be a sleeper and you got him before everybody knew he was going to be good. So that's another important thing. Look at the depth chart of everybody's team and see who is their starters. There might not be a high-profile guy yet, and that's what you want. You want to be able to pick guys that are not high-profile guys. Like a couple of years ago, Arian Foster, he wasn't that big yet. I took a flyer on him and turned out to be a monster. So those are the type of things you want to try to get guys that are not great yet, and before everybody else gets them. So that's the key to fantasy. That's the key to fantasy football. All right. So what you want to do is, again, I'll summarize this again. Number one, how to draft. Make sure you know how to draft. Get a whole list of guys that you want to draft, and then obviously when it gets to the later rounds, all you guys are going to be gone. You want to look for the sleepers. You want to look at the depth chart to see who the people's starters are, who the players are that are starting for those teams. Also, look for a team that's going to be good and try to get those starters. Okay, so you don't want to pick the quarterback of the Browns because they're going to stink this year. You want to see who's going to be a good team and get those players. Number two, first couple of weeks you're going to try to pick up sleepers, guys that are doing well the first couple of games, and try to get those guys before everybody else gets them. Number three, weather report. Try to look at the weather report and pick guys that are going to flourish in that type of environment. Don't put a guy that's going to, he's a kicker, and it's cold weather or it's rainy. Don't put a guy in that situation. Same thing about picking a guy that's going to flourish against that opponent. Okay, the Darrelle Revis. Don't put a wide receiver that's going to be against Darrelle Revis. Now you might want to do if he's a big name, but if he's an okay guy, you really wouldn't want to put somebody against like a Darrelle Revis or a good defense. Okay, dropping guys. Number four, dropping guys and picking guys up on the waiver wire. That's the same thing. You want to do this on a regular basis. You might have new guys towards the end of the year that you didn't have in the beginning. That happens. 5, trades. Do not try to make trades unless it benefits you. Don't just all of a sudden hit the accept button because you want to make a trade. Just try to maybe do a counter trade just to benefit you. Depth chart. Look at the depth charts of each team. Also, one other thing I almost forgot: injuries. Okay, it's going to happen during the course of the season. The best thing to do is look at who their backup is. Okay, so say somebody gets injured. Okay, say a running back. Okay, gets injured. See who their backup running back is. Because what's going to happen is if that guy gets injured, the running back that's the backup is going to play, and he's going to get all the touches. All right, so when an injury happens, even if it's a guy that's not even on your team. So say you had Jamal Charles last year, he got hurt. The backups played. So say somebody else has Jamal Charles, and you look to see who their backup is, and you pick up their backup, and you got that guy. Okay, now you have another running back, so that's going to help. That's one thing I almost forgot. All right, and the last but not least, have fun with it. Okay, one thing that when I first started, on Sunday, I was watching my team. As soon as 1 o'clock hit, Eastern Standard Time, I automatically put my team up because you can do game situation. You can click on that and you can actually watch your team accumulate points. That's crazy. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna be like, oh my God, he got a point. Oh, he ran a couple of yards and got 2 points. Don't do that. You're going to be doing a lot of the work during the week. Enjoy your Sunday. Do not sit there and watch your team. Go to Central Park. Hang out with your family. Don't even look at your team. Because what's going to happen is it's going to make you crazy. And it's going to make your family crazy as well. Okay, I've learned that over the years, because you don't want to be sitting in Central Park, okay, having a good time with your family, and you're looking on your phone to see how your team's doing. That's nonsense, okay? Put your phone away. I know people do this all the time. It's crazy. Just watch if you're gonna watch the game. Watch your team play. Okay, don't worry about who they're playing. Just watch your team. Maybe Sunday night, check to see how your team's doing, or maybe 6 o'clock, middle of the second game, you can check. But do not on a regular basis check your team, because it's gonna drive you crazy. Have fun with it, and don't drive your family crazy with this. All right. One thing that my wife always says during football season. Okay, you can do fantasy football, because that's the only fantasy you're gonna get during football season. All right. And that's my tips, and I hope you enjoy it. If you want a copy of this, I'm going to type this up. If you want a copy of it, you can email me at coachdag@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to email you the everything typed up for you. All right. So again, that's Coach Dag. Please subscribe to my channel so you can check out all my videos and my latest videos. Again, it's Coach Dag at gmail.com. Thanks a lot, guys.